For he beams from thy holy face with the dawn of redeeming grace. Christ the Savior is born. Christ the Savior is born.
That was fine. And now if you will turn to page 28.
Excuse me, Reverend, but it's getting pretty late.
Speak up, man. You know I'm a little deaf.
It's nearly 10.
10? No. Page 28.
The time.
Oh, 10 o'clock. Yes. Well, thank you, gentlemen. I'll expect you on Wednesday.
Good night, Reverend.
Good night. Professor McLean, could I have a word?
Of course.
Professor, I must thank you for coming tonight. And your son, of course. Will you be staying long in the village?
Oh, just a few days, I expect. Vicar, I understand the choir was much bigger before the church...
Before?
Before the church gained the reputation for being haunted.
Haunted? Absolute nonsense. The villagers are a superstitious lot. They say they hear the bells ring when no one's around. Other strange noises, ghostly shapes, all nonsense. Take my word for it.
Good morning, Sam.
Morning, Mac. Did you find out anything at the church last night?
Not really. The Reverend Shepherd seems harmless enough.
Well, let's go up to your room and see how Joe's making out with the brain pattern of a World Bank vice president. It shouldn't take him long. Hi, Joe. What's the verdict?
Well, it's a perfect forgery, Sam.
Perfect, Joe?
Yes, perfect. The reason's simple. This $10 bill has been printed from the original plates.
How do you know it's a forgery, Joe?
Well, under this microscope, it is possible to establish it was printed inside the last 2 weeks. But the last official printing was 17 years ago. The plates were then supposedly destroyed in a fire. There was an investigation at the time, of course, but the file was closed. In a couple of months, when the ink ages, it will be impossible to distinguish one of these notes from the real thing.
Then those plates weren't really destroyed in the fire.
That's right, Sam.
I'm beginning to realize the need for secrecy. If these forgeries are undetectable, it could play havoc with the monetary system. But I can hardly believe the Reverend Shepherd is mixed up in this.
Well, he paid $100 in forged bills into the bank. Where'd he get them?
Well, I suggest the easiest way to find out is to go and ask him. Reverend Shepherd, anyone around? Reverend Shepherd.
Did someone call?
Over here, sir.
Ah, Professor McLean and Joe. Come in, please. How nice to see you.
May I introduce an old friend of mine, Sam Louver?
Reverend?
How are you? Well, so glad you've dropped in. I was watering my Florina minoris.
Oh, yes. Well, they make a wonderful show.
Oh, shocking. It's the central heating that brings them out, you know.
I beg your pardon.
Green fly. Covered in them.
Sir, I'd like you to look at this bill. It's one of 10 you paid into the bank, and, well, I'm afraid it's a forgery.
This is unexpected. Most kind. The Church Restoration Fund is doing rather well lately.
And, no, sir, I don't think you quite understand.
Certainly. I'll give you a receipt. Down to expenses, what? Yes, I know. I understand.
Just hold on.
Well, would anyone like a cup of tea? This way, gentlemen. Do you realize this time next week we'll all be sleeping off our Christmas dinner?
I told you, Sam. The idea that that man is a criminal, a forger. Oh, it's ludicrous.
I don't know, Mac. There's something going on at that church, and you won't convince me he knows nothing about it.
Anyone around up there? What do you think? No one would come within a mile of this place at night.
The perfect setup. Who would think of looking for us in a crypt of a church? You've done a great job wiring up the place, Mason.
It'll do. It's convinced all the villagers the place is haunted. They stay in their beds these nights.
You'll pay for this, Mason.
Shut up. Remember, we're holding old Thomas over there as hostage. You just keep playing it our way and he stays alive.
Clem Mason, a wandering son who returned to rest in the village of his birth, in the good earth of his forefathers. Mason?
Does it mean anything to you, Uncle Sam?
Not really. But I think we ought to go and see the vicar again. I still reckon he's hiding something.
Clouds look heavy enough. We could have a white Christmas. Good King Wenceslas looked out. Boom, 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 boom.
Stay here and keep quiet.
Boom, 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 boom. Yes, we may be lucky. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, hello, Mr. Louver. How are you?
Fine.
The revolver under your coat. It's a .43 caliber rapid-fire Jaeger, if I'm not mistaken.
How in tarnation?
It's a hobby of mine. The safety catch has a very distinctive click.
You heard me flick the catch?
Of course. That's why I didn't jump when you fired that blank. Let me see. That particular gun is issued to MI6, the World Intelligence Network, and Interpol. Which are you?
I think we better have a long talk, Padre.
Why don't we all go into the house? Gentlemen, I think it's time we put our cards on the table.
Yes, Vicar.
Well, Mr. Louver, will you start?
All right. 1. The plates used to print counterfeit $10 bills were not destroyed in Washington 17 years ago. 2. I'm convinced they're hidden in or around your church. 3. According to the immigration authorities, you were in Washington at precisely the right time, 17 years ago. And 4, you need money to save your church from falling down. It's riddled with dry rot. A lot of money, 10,000 pounds. Just how far will you go to get it?
A fair question. I was in Washington 17 years ago.
You don't deny it?
How could he, Mac? He went to bring home the body of a man who wanted to be buried in the village he was from. It's fully documented. Clem Mason. We saw his grave this morning.
Correction. His real name was Carlo Massoni.
Carlo Massoni? Why, he had a finger in every racket on the western seaboard.
There's a man called Mason in the village now.
Yes, Joe. That's Carlo Massoni's nephew.
It's all beginning to fall into place. Somehow the plates must have been smuggled into the country. The coffin. They could have been in the coffin.
That's it. I'll pick up Mason. Give me an hour, he'll talk. We can sew the whole thing up by tonight. You've been very silly, Padre. You should have told us everything. You could be charged as an accessory.
There was a reason.
What was that, Vicar?
They're holding old Thomas, the verger, as hostage. Mason says he will kill him at the first sign of trouble. And I know he means it.
This is why you've kept up the pretense of being deaf.
Yes, that way it avoided answering embarrassing questions.
We may be able to work something out. What do you think, Sam?
It's possible. But we'll need your help, Padre.
Constable Lomax. Who's that? Oh, it's you, Vicar. You gave me a bit of a turn. I'm sorry, Logan. Listen, officer. I want you to be at the end of the road to the church at midnight. Oh, I don't know about that, Vicar. Good. I knew I could rely on you, Hogan. Lewis is the name, sir. And about midnight, you've got it, Sergeant. Good man. And if you see anything unusual around the church, don't worry. Just stay at your post. Unusual? Yes, it is turning colder. Good night to you. Good night. I say, Vicar! Daft deaf as a post. Something unusual, the vicar said.
Well, in 4 hours, we'll have $6 million. Every bill perfect. You collected all the gadgets?
Yes, our bells have rung for the last time.
Stop the press. Listen. It's the bell. Someone's in the church.
I'll go and check.
Mason, this is your uncle, Carlo Masoni.
Who's there? Who is it? It's a trick.
Desecrated by memory. An angel will come to vent his anger at this sacrilege.
Ah, Morgan! Oh, Vicar. You weren't leaving, were you, officer? I'm just a policeman, Vicar. And there's things going on down at your church. Well, it's unnatural. Don't worry, Constable. The Lord moves in mysterious ways.
What's wrong? You look as if you'd seen a ghost.
Maybe I have. I don't know. I'm scared. I'm getting out.
Pull yourself together.
Up there. Listen. There's the bell again.
You stupid fool, it's some kind of trick. This'll take care of your ghost. Come on, bring Thomas.
Joe, they're coming out of the crypt. Mason has Thomas covered with a gun, but he looks pretty scared.
Right, I'm ready.
Remember, Joe, they're armed, so be careful.
I reckon they'll be so scared they won't shoot straight.
Good luck, Joe.
Thanks.
Nothing. No bell, no voice, no ghost.
I didn't imagine it. I didn't.
Yeah. Come on, let's get back down to the crypt.
Look. It's the angel. He's coming to take his revenge.
Mason, come back here.
This I will be avenged.
No!
There you are, Padre. Reward for the recovery of the plates. £8,000.
I don't know what to say.
I understood Interpol were also offering a reward. £2,000, wasn't it? So, that makes £10,000. A nice round figure.
Well, I don't think I can.
Come on. You can collect it from Interpol, Sam.
Go on, Uncle Sam. It's Christmas.
All right, Joe. 10,000.
Well, Reverend, it's time for the Christmas carol service. I hear the whole village is in the church.
Tell me one thing. How did your son Joe gain the knowledge and experience to fly with a power pack?
The Lord moves in mysterious ways.